It's that time again. It's time for another Saturday night special where we talk about everything rockhounding related. Got some updates. I got some fun stuff to share with you this week. I got a couple of things that are new out here in the shop. Well, let's hop right into it. Some of you out there know about my buddy Frank. Frank was the guy who drew up the blueprints for the carpet wheel that gave them to me so that I could share them on the website. Hopefully more people will be making carpet wheels as well. It's a great machine. Well, Frank knows basically every single thing there is to know about electricity. I believe he teaches electricians, so he's a good guy to know for something like that. Well, a couple of weeks ago on the previously Rockhounding podcast, I came across a little piece of information where they were talking about lapidary saws. And one thing they were talking about is they mentioned that higher end saws or whatever had a meter on them for knowing if the saw is working too hard. And I was like, was this a thing? Like saws with meters? That's news to me, right? I've never seen this. I've never heard of this. And I don't believe it never really became a thing. And I was inquiring about it, and a lot of you answered with an amp meter. So I'm looking at amp meters, and I'm having a hard time figuring out how I was going to smoothly integrate an amp meter. So basically, the idea is, let's say you're cutting a rock. I don't know, I have too many rocks sitting around here. Here, I'll just grab this thing. Okay, so you're cutting a rock, and the blade's coming in, and this is in an auto feed slab saw, and you get a little bit of a twist in it, and you can kind of, sometimes you can hear that something is off, sometimes you can't, sometimes you're not paying enough attention. Well, an amp meter would be like, hey, the motor's working too hard. But how do you smoothly integrate that into the shop? That's where I have a hard time. Well, Frank built me an inline volt amp meter, which we'll be playing with in the future. So basically, plug this into the wall, plug your machine in, and it'll say the amperage and voltage. Voltage is, I guess, slightly less important. We're concerned with the amperage. So that will tell me what's going on with the saw. It'll give me another data point, which is really awesome. He has a video up showing how he made this. I will drop a link down below on how he made that. It's really simple. Now that I see it, I'm like, oh, I could totally have followed along with a tutorial and made one myself, which that is very cool, and I'm looking forward to messing around with that in the future. I also received this in the mail. Now, some of you probably already know what this is. I don't know if I would have picked this out if I was just told, if I wasn't told. But this is a dinosaur bone. And this just so happens to be agatized dinosaur bone. So you do have some little pockets in here, it's very clear. Now, this is not something I know much about at all. But it does feel very crazy. Think of this being a silicate replaced dinosaur bone. And it's also quite UV reactive, which is also very fun. That's pretty good. It's kind of like the in between the cells almost is what you're really kind of seeing light up very orange there. Let's hit the other light. Now it's dark. Now that's dark. Yeah, look at that. That's quite cool. Quite cool. Very, very, I don't want to blind you there. Very fun to see. Now, I know people make stuff out of dinosaur bone, but I'm very tempted to not make anything out of this and maybe just put like a high gloss, high polish on it. Because right now we're kind of in this matte finish almost. So I'm thinking I might just do a polish on it. Slabs are a little bit of a challenge for me to polish. But yeah, why not? I think it would look good just kind of as a as a display slab, you know. Display slab episode's pretty good. Well, many of you watched my video on the Rockhound resource website, which, go watch that video if you haven't watched that video. My friend Patrick over at Midnight Minerals said that he reached out to the owner of Rockhound Resource with a request for him to remove one of the listings on his website that is private property, and he actually did it. So I kind of, now, mixed feelings here. You let me know if I'm wrong. I kind of want to give credit where credit's due all the time and be like, okay, good on him for removing something that somebody asked him to. But on the other hand, the cynical jerk in me kind of wants to be like, no, like, you shouldn't have to be asked to do the right thing. Like, I mean, now I'm not the arbiter of morality, right? But the measure shouldn't be, are you doing the right thing when asked, but are you doing the right thing when nobody's looking? And he's definitely not doing the right thing when nobody's looking. I think that's a fair assessment. I don't know. Mixed feelings about that. Mixed feelings. What can I say? This week as well, the channel here, we passed 3 million views on the channel, which is a crazy number to think about. 3 million people watching the videos. That's like the entire population of Arkansas watching a video of mine, which it's fun. You know, it's subscribers, all these different metrics. It's interesting to think about just the size of it. So thank y'all for being one of the next million views here on the channel. I appreciate it. You know, I have a long ways to go with some of the stuff that I'm working on. Well, on to the meat of tonight's talk. I want to talk about opal hunting in eastern Washington. Now, I have this idea in my mind that I'm going to find a good opal deposit. I know opal is out here. We have it. We've shown it. We've talked about it many, many different times. And typically, a lot of what you find here, I'm grabbing a piece of, a lot of the opal that you find in eastern Washington looks like this, right? I mean, I basically keep this around as an example of cruddy, common opal. So I'm really, you know, like, okay, whatever. It's just an example piece. But as we know from some of the places that we've gone, there's beautiful fire opal. There's precious opal out here. Most of the opal that you're going to find, though, is going to be more skewing towards those oranges, yellows, brown reds, that. And common opal is not what I'm talking about tonight. So we've been out exploring in our beautiful, beautiful scablands out here. And I have came across some interesting finds, and a lot of it looks something like this. Now, what you have here, on the outside, you don't get to see much. I broke this rock, by the way. So we have some very vesicular basalts. And then on the inside, well, we have opal, nontronite. Now, nontronite's the yellow stuff. And nontronite's not something I know a whole heck of a lot about. There's also some siderite in here. And I think it's important to talk about some mineral associations. See, one of the things that I feel like doesn't get talked about very much is mineral associations. If you're looking for opal out here, what should you be looking for? Now, I've looked for a lot of opal, and it's always in similar-ish rocks, at least when you're looking for it in vesicles. But my assumption is that the opal out here, if you find it in vesicles, you could also potentially find it in seams, and that's where you're going to get bigger deposits of it. So I check very vesicular basalt. We walk around, we break it, and we look inside it. Now, often, a lot of this stuff is very eroded on the outside, so you see nothing, and on the inside you see lots. I've never found opal out here in eastern Washington that was not directly associated with Wanapum basalt flows and nontronite, which is in I believe it's the smectite group, which is a group of clay minerals, which I don't know a whole heck of a lot about, and siderite. So I have the associations where you got to go out to beautiful places like this and walk around, break some rocks in some nice weather, and hopefully come up with something good. I believe it's out there. I believe there is another good deposit. Good deposits have been found. Profitable deposits have been found in the past. It's a matter of locating it. This stuff does look kind of cool under the microscope. And yeah, I mean, I got some micro mounts out of it, which that's a lot of fun. And some of these will probably go into the basalt collection. I almost need probably need to get a separate display case in the house of just the basalts, because I have some pretty cool pieces. And, you know, often I think it gets overlooked because people see it in this, like, I guess, a very, like, isolated way, you know? When you see a whole bunch of igneous, extrusive rocks all side by side, it looks really cool, it looks really interesting. So maybe, cross your fingers for me, that we'll find a cool opal deposit out here. There's a lot to go off of. There's a huge, massive swaths of land to look around. But yeah, it's exciting. This was a good day out there with Sarah walking around, good finds. And man, I know it's January, but to have a couple of nice days sure was good. Well, I think with that said, everybody, we're going to leave this one here. And man, maybe stay tuned. Hit the subscribe button if you're not subscribed. Maybe you'll see another opal discovery video here on the channel. All right, y'all. I appreciate you. And go check out the website, please, currentlyrockhounding.com. And I'll catch you in the next video.